Joining us now, Strategic Communications Advisor for Trump-Pence 2020, Marc. Hey, Marc, great to have you with us.
It's great to be back, John.
Hey, look, Marc, I got to start with this. I love Operation MAGA. Let's get everybody involved. I'm involved. I got a bunch of speaking engagements that the campaign has given me the next week or so. Tell us about why you guys came up with it and how it
Well,
works.
it's really not. Yeah, it was really nothing different than what we had been doing. Just nobody was actually paying attention to it. We've got 2 bus tours that are traveling around the country. I was on it over the weekend in Iowa. I've been in Michigan, Ohio, Colorado, and we've got the women's bus tour going. And yet, people, rightfully so, are mostly focused on the president's rallies or the vice president's rallies. So this is just basically us reminding folks this campaign's not going anywhere. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, it was announced that we have the largest grassroots campaign in the history of presidential politics. About 2.5 million trained volunteers. That's even more than Barack Obama in 2012. And they're out there. They're going door to door. They're making phone calls. They're doing the work that actually winning elections are built around.
Well, look, the number of doors, I was talking to somebody the other day that we had on that said that we've knocked on over 2.2 million doors in the country. Biden has knocked on 0. What does that mean? How does that translate into votes?
Well, it means we're going to get our voters to the polls. They were already energized to begin with. And you actually see, it's ironic that you see Joe Biden now, after mocking the door-knocking effort, knocking our get-out-the-vote efforts, he's actually had to start doing it himself, despite what he previously said, and that's because he's losing. They're looking at the same numbers that we are. They know this grassroots army is out there. When I woke up Friday morning and I was on that tour with everybody, the people were coming up to me after the diagnosis saying, we're praying for the president and the first lady, but then we want to do more. If this president can't be on the campaign trail for 10 days or so, then we're going to be out there doing even more for him, because they know he's been carrying us for 3.5 years doing all that hard work.
Right.
Now it's their chance to reward that and carry him while he's recovering.
Hey, Marc, let me ask you this. I mean, you're a veteran of politics. You've been around a long time, a lot of campaigns, and so have I, covering it, not part of campaigns, but covering it in the media. I've never seen the level of enthusiasm I have seen for this president in the past 3 months in any capacity, in any campaign I've ever done. And I'm 62 years old. Have you ever seen anything like the enthusiasm that he has?
No, never, and not even close. And we see it everywhere we go. I mean, my goodness, when you have hundreds of people coming out, in the middle of the afternoon to see someone like me, in Iowa, I mean, it's like, come on now. That's enthusiasm. They are so excited, let alone the thousands that come out, obviously, for the president, the vice president.
Right.
I mean, it's really remarkable. And they're going out there and doing the work. That's the key. And the president always tells me this. It's not a campaign, it's a movement. And it's absolutely right. It is a movement.
Hey, we have a shot in Virginia, right? You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Marc? I mean,
yeah,
we got a hell of a shot. We got a hell of a shot. In fact, I've been very assertive in telling everybody that. And on Monday, the president specifically tweeted out Virginia was the only state he mentioned that it was in play. And I tell you, the army of volunteers that we've got in Virginia is mind-boggling. We've knocked on over 325,000 doors with a 38% home rate. I mean, these numbers are unheard of. I mean, normally, you knock on doors, your at-home rate is 15 to 20%. We've averaged 38% because of the pandemic, Marc. People are home. When do you see the president getting back on the trail? Is that going to be with a debate on the 15th?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't want to get him ahead of his doctors, and obviously, that's first and foremost. But it sounds like obviously he's going to need to quarantine, for at least the rest of this week, and then he's got the debate next week. But assuming his health is fine, assuming he gets those negative tests, then I have a feeling he'll be right back out there on the campaign trail, more fired up than ever before next week. And in the meantime, you'll have the vice president out, you'll have the family out, our bus tours are out. I'm heading to Florida and Minnesota this week. We're out there in force. And the key is, here in Virginia, where I live as well, you got to run up the score. You've got to overcome the swamp of the D.C. suburbs and run up the score. Every vote matters, and we can do it at the congressional level. We will do it at the statewide level. But every folks who are out there, they got to know this is your time to run up the score.
Have you been shocked by the vitriol in the media over the president's recovery, like the number of people melting down? upset that he was better and came out, and I guess hoping that his condition would worsen. The names that he was called by, people in Main Street media. Were you at all shocked by that?
I was, honestly, but then again, nothing shocks me. I mean, literally every day the Democrats wake up and go, what can we get our outrage machine turned on today?
Right.
And because they're just basically fueled around this outrage over everything. And if you're outraged that the president is recovering, the president's been released from the hospital, then you really need to check yourself, because that's just not the way America is. And so we'll get out there and we're going to continue to do it.
Marc, we have heard in the media they have been saying that we're going to get outspent by Biden at the end, that he's raised a lot more money. We have a cash shortage. Are we going to have enough money to be competitive here in the final weeks?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. And the key is that you have to remember, Biden had all this money here towards the very end. He's got no choice but to put it, just to flood the airwaves. But that's not how campaigns are won. We have been spending the money in the last 2 years building that grassroots army. We have people in battleground states for over 18 months where Joe Biden is just putting people in the last few weeks. And that's where you really build the army. So it's not about air war anymore, on radio and television. It's social media. It's the volunteer effort, which they just don't have.
Well, I think that's going to be the difference. I mean, that's where a lot of that money was spent, or a good portion of it was building the grassroots army. Obviously, if all your money comes in at the end, you have no army, you're going to spend it on TV because, well, there isn't anything else to spend it on, and you don't really have the time to build the infrastructure that we have. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of paid people in every single major battleground state, and they've trained, as you said, how many volunteers?
Nearly 2.5 million.
Have now 2.5 million. These are trained volunteers, not just somebody that calls up and says, I want to lick envelopes. These are people that came through a training program that actually have some experience and know what they're doing. Think about this: 2.5 million trained volunteers. I mean, that is a mind-boggling number, Marc. No question.
It really is. And when you look at the results, we've already made over 100 million voter contacts in this cycle. In 2016, we contacted 33 million voters, and we've already well surpassed 100 million this cycle, and we're not done. I mean, those are the numbers that put you over the top in the end.
How many people in the end do you think will end up contacting?
Oh, I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but we just did we're doing millions, every weekend, maybe 2 million a weekend.
Right.
It's really remarkable, especially in those battleground states. And folks know, whether you live in a battleground or whether you live in a reliably red or reliably blue state, they got to get out to vote. And when you look at the fact that this president set records in almost every state during the primary cycle for the record number of votes for any incumbent president of either party, he got more than Obama, he got more than George W., he got more than Ronald Reagan. It shows you people are energized to come out and vote for this man. Even in a primary that didn't exist, they wanted to be on record. They're going to be on record in the general election when it's truly on the line.
Marc, final question, because I know you're short on time. How many people total do you think will vote in the 2020 presidential election?
I think you'll see. I think you're going to see more, obviously, than you saw in 2016. And I'm hoping that it's because it's mostly Republicans. But we got to know that they're motivated as well. So that's why I tell people, if you, in the next 27 days, 4 weeks from today, 28 days, go find another vote. Find someone who didn't vote in 16. Find somebody who voted the wrong way in 16 and seen the light, or find a new 18-year-old and get them out to the polls. If everybody who loves this president in this country gets one more vote, we win this thing in such a huge margin, a huge landslide. Democrats can't steal it away from him.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to steal it. But by the time this thing is done, we will have contacted probably 120 million people, which is over a majority of who are going to actually turn out. I mean, the numbers, the ground game is so massive. I've never seen anything like it, and that's the thing that's going to put us over the top. That's why those are not reflected in the fake narrative polls from NBC that are all rigged. Marc, thanks for being with us, man. Thanks for all you do.
John.
I know you have to go.